Great question, Katie. The answer is yes. If I were you, I would. Now, I wouldn't feel the need to record everything that's said, but if you want to, before you move on to the next topic, type a sentence or two that summarizes your thoughts on it, I think that'd be great. You can do that in one of two places, Katie, either on that document itself or in your reflection journal, whatever you think is the best system for you. That's an awesome question. I'm glad you asked it. Anybody else? Okay, all right. Okay, sweet. All right, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Folks, here in a moment, if you want, right, we'll find some places to socially distance and discuss. Oh, breakout room, folks, this goes for you too. I know some people don't like reading aloud, so you'll see it's just broken down in like a paragraph. So if you want to just read the paragraph on your own quietly, you can. If you want to take turns reading the paragraph aloud to each other, whatever your team decides works best for y'all. All right, I'm not too worried about that. Ruby? All right. Okay, breakout rooms, here you guys come. Let's see, how many folks do I have? 20. Wow. All right. 20. Okay, 20 people. We're going to go breakout rooms. We'll do 5 breakout rooms. All right, I'll come in to visit you guys in the breakout rooms. Don't hesitate to hit me up in the chat if you have a question too. All right, goodbye. And watch them all disappear. It's kind of satisfying, isn't it? And then I'm by myself. And then this is where I usually would just go out for a coffee and, you know, then come back every few minutes so you thought I was still there and just be like, very interesting. Oh, I got to go to another breakout room. And then, no, I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. Those of you in the front room, you're going to be one learning team together. Some suggestions. You can like come find a spot around here. I've got some chairs we could pull out, yada, yada, yada. Team 2, you guys are another team. You can find like a spot over here. I got some chairs we can manipulate. If someone wants to go out into the hallway, so you can still be socially distanced and talk and hear each other, that's fine. The weather, I would say, is not great, but if your team is like, no, we're cool, it's 50 degrees, I can hang, and you want to go outside, right? Again, as long as we're socially distanced, Mr. Hodson's cool with that, okay? So you guys want to talk and figure out where you want to be, y'all want to talk, figure out where you want to be. Do you want me just to tell you? Sure. Hey guys, how you doing? Oh, my video's off. Let me start my video. There's my video.
Yes.
Alessandra, I just wanted to know I got your message. Thank you.
My message?
Yeah, did you message me about Ethan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
Cool.
Sorry, I forgot for a second.
I know, it's all good. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. While you're here, right. I should probably tell you that Phoenix's Wi-Fi crashed.
Oh, thank you. Okay, that's good to know. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. You guys doing okay though? Need anything from me?
Yeah.
All right. You guys rock.
So did you make the document?
Yeah, I shared it with you guys.
Yeah.
Think some reasons why there are like places where it's just straight that one ethnicity and it's pretty strong and culturally based, like Japan, for example. As I think it's because it was like isolated for a long time, because Japan, you know, it's like a little tiny island. They've also, like when we learned about in WAP, they've always been like isolationist government. Like they kind of just will trade with other people, but like few people, and they just keep to themselves. And I think it's because they started off as an island and they didn't have the technology to get off of that place.
Also, when the Europeans, I think it was in the age of imperialism, the Europeans conquered, or not conquered, but like heavily controlled trade in China. I forget what it's called. It's something door policy, open door policy, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, like they saw that and they saw how they're like exerting their influence, and they didn't want the same thing to happen in Japan. So I think they, at one point, I think they kicked out and burned and killed a bunch of Christian missionaries within Japan because they didn't want European influence. So I think that trend has just like kept on going throughout the years.
Honestly, I think it's just all around the world. It's like, oh, we don't want to be conquered by the white men. We don't like the Europeans.
Not the best reputation.
Especially like in Africa too. That was true. Like the division of Africa.
Yeah, because they kind of just drew all the borders for the countries.
So, but if I can ask, I think your conversation is awesome, and I think a lot of what you're saying bears scrutiny. But other societies, like say for example, you know, um, places like India or places like South Africa or places that have had like or Australia that have had a history of like European influence that wasn't necessarily positive have evolved into societies that like are open to new people moving in and becoming a part of the community. Japan, from what I understand, still has like it's really hard to become a citizen of that country. They like don't want you, if unless you're ethnically Japanese, they really don't want you to become a part, like a citizen of the country. Like why do you think some cultures are so resistant and others are so like open?
It could be that like grounded in one's tradition or religion. If there's like a group of people that are very religious or have specific traditions that they want to like uphold, then they're going to be, I feel like, less likely to try to include like other people that may not have the same cultural beliefs in their like systems.
Yeah, I think oh, what was I gonna say? I had such a good idea about that. Oh, the Greeks. The Greeks, they were like super hospitable, and that was just like that was in their culture and tradition. Like they were super hospitable. They showed a lot of hospitality to like foreigners. So I think people like that, um, yeah, like Jack was saying, it's kind of rooted in their past and its tradition to like to like be accepting and let people come in.
Can I
Yeah,
ask,
kind
is one model better than the other? I mean, you look at like Scandinavian countries that are pretty homogeneous culturally. You look at Japan that's homogeneous culturally. Like you see like a high degree of social trust. You see a high degree of like reported happiness, which a lot of people think is linked to a shared like national culture. Is that the way we should be moving as a world, or should we be continuing to move to sort of like this diversity, this heterogeneous cultural model?
I think it should be diversity because when people are grouped up together and something goes wrong, one group gets mad at a different group. They don't see each other as like the same entity. They don't see each other as well. Oh, we're both humans. They see we're we're this, we're that. Like, and that's how war starts. And I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, obviously, I think it's important to be connected with people that are like you. It makes you feel at home. So yeah, it would be cool maybe to have smaller groups just like within a society like a Asian American club, I don't know if you will, where Asian Americans can meet to get together, Mexican Americans, like all that type. And I think we kind of have that in the United States, but I think we should all be intermixed because we need to learn how to accept and live with one another. I don't think we should be separated.
Yeah, I think it provides like a specific worldview, or it teaches people like about other cultures and how other people are going to be living in a way that you wouldn't get if you were just all with people that
Yeah.
are like you. You can't really
Raises the range of knowledge. Other
exactly. Yeah.
cultures have different knowledge and different perspectives about the world, and you can gain a lot more perspective by meeting more people that are different than you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
sort
man.
of being open-minded in a way, and kind of, not being like separated off into different beliefs, but kind of like intermixing and just being part of like one group, or not one group, but considering other people's ideas and not just blocking them off.
All right, you guys are doing a great job. I'm gonna go visit some other rooms if that's all right. Peace and love.
if you're allowing abortion, then I'm not really, in my opinion, I don't think it's really affecting anyone else besides the mother and the fetus. But then again, it's like if you take away that right, then you're hurting so many more people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so writing some stuff down. How many like sentences or bullet points do you want us to do for each one? Does it matter what format?
Was that directed to me?
Yes, sorry.
Oh yeah, no, it's up. Like it's totally up to you guys. Yeah.
Oh, what we turn in, it doesn't matter. It can be just 1 or 2 sentences about what we talked about.
Yeah. In fact, I don't. You're not even going to turn anything in for this.
Oh,
Yep.
then why?
Okay.
I can just talk. Okay, good.
Yeah. I do, Christian. I do recommend that you. If I were you, I would put down a sentence or two, or like some bullet points about what you thought or what someone said if you found it interesting, because
Yeah.
again, later next year you can use this stuff to help you with your assessments. But you don't feel like you got to like write down the script of what everybody said.
Oh, and also, when we sign up for the IB exam, it should say no for the ToK assessment. That's just for next year.
Yep, you're only doing that course that you're doing on your Tuesday, Thursday support time. That's the only one you need to sign up for.
Okay, thank God. Okay, good. Thank you. Let's see.
You guys
So
Who
what do
wants to read?
anything from me?
What's
I don't
that?
think so.
Okay. All right. I love you. I'll see you in a few.
Yeah.
We sort of have people who are giving advice or like are working with each other instead of just having this one person that makes all the decisions.
What are you guys discussing?
We're currently on the second red area discussing the quote unquote get the job done piece.
Mm. So is this the moral leadership?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys think it's important to have like for example, teachers are another example where we get in trouble or get fired if, for example, we do things that are completely unrelated to our job but may like cast us in a bad moral light. Like for example, say we get arrested for like drunk driving. Um, you know, one could argue that doesn't really have anything directly to do with like my content knowledge of math or science or whatever, but because we're deemed like a moral authority in your lives, then we are like, do you think that should be a part of how we evaluate public figures?
Me and Liam were saying how it should be taken into consideration, but it shouldn't be the sole factor for a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, and earlier.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Lee.
I think
earlier, just me and
Adam.
Adam.
I think this is a different thing than what we were discussing, because what we were discussing was were things like extramarital affairs going like during and in the past of a like political career, and so we had like all agreed that if it was in the past, then it shouldn't really matter, but if it was during, then it should probably be taken into account for disturbing the politics. But I think in terms of like teaching, I think it depends on more on the job, because if you're a teacher, and are being and are caught like drunk driving, then yeah, it would be a moral responsibility to not be doing so. So, and I think it's actually more of a moral responsibility on everyone, not just like even if you were like the highest like person in the land. I think it would be even more of a moral responsibility for like the president to not be seen drunk driving. So I think there are things that you could say are you could put in the past and just say don't deserve to be like brought up again. And then there are things that I think do deserve to be morally responsible, that people deserve to be morally responsible, like recklessness compared to accidental or like misjudgment. I think there's a difference between that. Because like an extramarital affair, I think it's not really an accident, because if you're having an affair, it's not an accident. But
Right.
it's still I think it's still different than if you're going outside and recklessly driving drunk.
Lee, what were your thoughts?
I mean, me and Adam were talking about the extramarital thing, and I think we sort of agreed that if a personal scandal happens either in the past or doesn't have a direct effect on the politics, that it shouldn't have a large part in whether or not we trust a person. But like, I don't know, I was using Bill Clinton as an example, but because they both were allegedly in an affair with each other and they both had like a political standing, that should have been taken into account because they're both political figures and they should not be seen as immoral. But what they were doing, some would consider is immoral. So I think we said if something happens in the past before somebody has a political standing and that comes to light during either like a presidency or anything like that, that shouldn't be taken into account because it happened in the past before they had this sort of impact on politics.
Okay. Wow, you guys are getting into a lot of context, which I think is awesome. So I just think it's interesting. It's something worth thinking about, that if I was an accountant, right, at a company here in the city of Indianapolis, and I was arrested for shoplifting or drunk driving or something, that I would be prosecuted by the police for sure. But like I would be unlikely to lose my job just because of that infraction. But as a teacher or a politician or a religious leader, we're often thought to be moral and educational, or moral and political, or moral and religious leaders. And so when we commit moral infractions or legal infractions, the repercussions for us are different than an accountant, or, you know, a bus driver, or a, you know, janitor, or a, you know, restaurant owner. You guys are awesome. Keep going. I'll see you soon.
Hi, Mr. Hudson. We have finished.
Oh my gosh, you guys went fast. That's great. Okay. Well, cool. Well, what do you want to talk about?
Any ideas, guys?
Did anyone say anything particularly interesting?
For the most part, we kind of were on the same page with what we were all saying, kind of agree with our points.
Yeah.
Let me talk with you what I was just talking about with another team then. How do you guys feel about the idea of like morality being tied up with like politics, where we expect our political leaders to be also like moral exemplars?
We think that it should be a factor when you're thinking about who you should elect as your political leader, but like we understand that political leaders are humans too, and they're allowed to make some mistakes. And as long as they can like apologize for them, be like, oh yeah, that was wrong, and they actually mean it, I feel like they should be forgiven.
What about this idea? I brought this up with the team I was just talking about. So there's a longstanding tradition where, let's say, for example, if a teacher gets arrested for, let's say, some kind of substance abuse issue, like drunk driving or possession of narcotics, they are fired by the school district because they're seen as a sort of moral exemplars for the students that they teach, regardless of how like amazing they are in the classroom, how good they are at teaching, how great like the results the students get are, whatever. Like if you commit this moral or legal infraction, like we fire you. Whereas like if I was an accountant for Lilly, or if I was, you know, a custodian for IU Health, and one of these things happens, it's not a guarantee that I would be fired. So what do you guys think about that? Like, do you feel like how do you feel about that commingling of like moral authority with things that don't necessarily, I mean, what do you I'm struggling to ask a question, but you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, that situation, you can kind of say like, I don't know, it's one thing if he was arrested for like drinking, because I don't know, that kind of affects, like, that reflects on his personality a bit. but it would be way worse if he was like arrested for being a pedophile when he's a teacher for children. And earlier I talked about how like it would be bad if like a presidential candidate cheats on their wife or something, like that says something about their personality. But it's even worse when you find out political figures like did blackface in their past or something like that, because that says something about their like political beliefs or that they might be racist, and then that affects their job, just like the teacher being a pedophile would affect their job. So I think it's less about morality and just about their effectiveness still.
So it depends. Like it depends on the situation and the offense.
Yeah.
And I think that's a reasonable position to hold. I wanted to ask you, you just said something, Abby, that sparked a thought, and then it escaped me. Oh, I wanted to ask, how do you guys feel? Do you feel human nature is essentially like corrosive, and we need society to like give us guardrails for our like innately selfish desires? Or do you feel like we're innately good people and it is our political societal systems that lead us to corruption by like seeking loopholes and providing layers of abstraction between us and our fellow citizens?
I personally feel like it's a little bit of both in that, in the sense of humans, like in the argument that humans are corrupt, but society helps us. I feel like a sense of belonging makes a person more, or like more, how does I say this? Less susceptible to acting upon their like human desires or like corrupt thoughts, something like that. But at the same time, I feel like humans are naturally good, but can be corrupted by trying to think of like something that they can take advantage of in society. Like if a person is naturally good, but then given an opportunity to do something bad for their own benefit, I feel like it works both ways.
Well, like anonymity, right? Like with a million people in Indianapolis, there's the odds are super huge that anyone I run into is going to have no idea who I am. So I could like key their car or steal their wallet or insult them, because like how are they ever going to know who it was that did it? Whereas if we lived, you know, in a small tribal society and I did any of those things, you guys would be like, hey, there's the guy.
I don't know if humans are naturally bad, but I do think we're naturally selfish, because I think even when we do good things, we do it because we want to feel good about ourselves, because we have that certain reaction of, I could have keyed that person's car, but I didn't. Look at how good a person I am. And you give yourself a little metaphorical pat on the back.
Mm.
And it's something that you did kind of for yourself, not necessarily for the other person.
So society is constructed in a way that allows us to like self-reinforce these positive behaviors.
To some sense, yes.
And
When you do good things, you're reinforcing a positive feeling towards yourself.
Okay. And that might even get into a little bit of the psychology and power, you know, what you're talking about there, Beatrice, about how our brains might be wired to sort of seek that dopamine rush of feeling good about ourselves because we followed the rules. Did you guys read Lord of the Flies? Was that part of your curriculum? Did you have to read that?
It was not, but I have read it.
So like that's kind of like the worst case scenario, right?
Yeah, he was like a racist though, so who knows what, I don't know if his opinions should be valid.
Oh wow. Okay. So well, we'll pause on that because I think we'll get to issues of that when we talk about political correctness. That's awesome. Would you mind bringing that example back up?
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. If you guys are finished, I'm on in just a minute here. I'm going to bring everybody back to the main breakout room, and we'll say goodbye to each other, or the main room, not the main breakout room. See you in a minute.
The ideal world was one in which resources were collectively by society and where all would where all would profited profited from their default equally. Oh, I can't read. Okay, so what do you think? Let's call on to something here. Is capitalism and the government structure that supported bound for destruction? Question mark.
I think sorry to interrupt. We're bringing everybody back for some like concluding remarks. Do you think you might be able to pause on the rest of this conversation until next time?
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Welcome back, digital
All right,
folks.
guys, good job. Oh no, it's so big. Oh my God. Do you have to look like Father?
Yeah, I do.
Everybody
Well,
coming in
I
for the
remember
PSAT tomorrow?
Yeah, always.
Got some PSAT test takers.
Actually, that didn't make sense. I was trying to sound cool.
Okay, Elias, you tried.
I tried. That hurts so much.
All right, I jumped in and out of the breakout rooms, heard some fantastic conversations going on, and could overhear conversations going on with the in-person folks as well. And so we have a lot to talk about. First of all, Dylan, give me a critique, brother. How well did I do in sort of crafting an assignment that was getting at the heart of what you wanted to talk about? Did I get close?
I liked it, and my group didn't get all the way through it because we liked
Either
it
that or
enough
he's
to
just
talk
giving
about
you
it
the
a
silent
lot,
treatment.
so
Oh, sorry, Dylan, can you hear us?
yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, same.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear?
No,
I can hear.
I'm not
hear.
muted, am I?
No, you're not muted.
I can. I'm not muted. Can you-
Dylan, you can't hear you. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we can't hear you.
Oh, that's
Dylan.
They can hear him though.
Oh, I think.
Oh, you can hear? Oh, okay. Hold on then.
You're not muted.
Let me see. Let's see. Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. I got it.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
All right, try now, Dylan.
Oh, he's frozen again.
Oh, wait, hold on. I think we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah! Woo! All right, that was the toxic bad. Okay, how good did I do? How bad did I do?
I said I really liked it. It was nice to discuss and very thought provoking. And my group we didn't even get all the way through it, so I think that kind of shows how much there was to discuss and how pretty encompassing it was.
One of the things that frustrates me about knowledge is I honestly looked and searched for some non-Western European like theorists to talk about. Do you know how hard it is to find information on political philosophy from folks that aren't Western Europeans? Isaac speaks the truth. He says, what do you expect? I found Confucius, right? Anybody else who else, any of you think, I've got 28 brilliant folks here. Do you know any non-Western Europeans that we could mine for ideas on how best to run a government? Christian, suggestions?
I said Adam Mickiewicz. He's a Polish poet and philosopher. He's basically like the LeBron James of Eastern Europe in the 19th century. Well, not LeBron James. LeBron James wasn't a philosopher, but he was the coolest guy.
Well, first of all, I have some former students that would take umbrage with your categorizing LeBron James as not being a philosopher, but that's a conversation for another time. I hate to tell you this though, Christian, and I love you to death. Poland is in Europe.
But you said Western Europe.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Okay, Christian. All right, I'm a geographer, so I will appreciate the distinction. Well done. Anybody else? Any non-European? How about non-male? How about Ritesh, what do you think?
I was gonna say there's this guy from Bangladesh. Well, he's dead, but he's like really old. His name is Qazi Nurul-Islam.
Okay, can you spell that for me?
Kazi.
Mary Wolf. Yeah, Mary Wolf. No, we're just reading the chat.
Space NAZRUL.
Okay.
Islam, like in the religion.
Okay. And oh yeah, Mary Wolcroft.
Oh yeah, Lee, I was just reading the chat.
Oh, okay. Lee, I love it. Okay.
Alstonker. I understand. You were close.
It's in
It's okay. We'll get close enough that I can Google it. Okay. Awesome. Other thoughts, folks, digital or folks in the room. Okay. All right. Well, again, we'll expand our conversation when we meet next again, which I think is going to be on Friday. Sound right? Okay. Digital folks, mad love to you. Thanks for your participation today. If anybody in the digital world needs to stick around to ask a question, feel free to. If not, have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you on Friday.
Bye.
See ya, Sophie.
Mr. Hodson,
Yeah.
where do we go to submit this document?
You're not.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm not going to collect this one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Tristan, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Did you have a question or you're just hanging out?
Oh, no, I just waited for her to ask the question since she was in the same group. So.
Good afternoon, North Central High School. Please note the bus changes for today. 103 will be riding on bus 21 in slot 56 on the west side. Once again, 103 will be riding on bus 21